do the same thing here again.
They might want to let it through. They do indeed. Honestly, I think it's about they want to make a statement. They supposedly think they knew what they were doing yesterday. TSM, thank God they picked the Molina. we would have had some words if they wouldn't have grabbed the Moline.
So
but yeah.
who plays the Moline for TSM? Does it go to Chuck?
Yeah, absolutely. Chuck in the mid lane. Moline, super strong mid laner, those 5 abilities. Something Chuck is very good at. He's actually spent a lot of time practicing her. Right now it's so hard for players to get their hands on her because she's banned in ranked 5v5. Chuck has had to gone into casual 5v5, 3v3, even playing some blitz just to work on those Moline mechanics. I know that they've been doing a bunch of 1v1s internally as well. Hopefully they will show in this game here today.
Now the question I have is, obviously Moline is known to be a mid laner. Is there any argument to be made for putting her in the top lane, so where you're up against something who's going to be like a bruiser, who's going to be in melee? So she excels against melee heroes. So if you put her up against something like a Rona, I think she could do actually very well in that role.
She can do very well in other roles. I know exactly which roles TSM might opt to go for. I don't know if we'll necessarily see it out of today. We do see the Samuel, so potentially mixing up those lanes. But yeah, we'll just kind of have to see how that plays out. Slimy Salamanders with the Tony and the Idris, those are actually a great combination. Once you taunt someone on the enemy team, Idris throws out that Chakram, they're in a straight line, gets hit twice. Most of the time, definitely great hero synergies there. I like that a lot out of Slimy Salamanders.
Yeah, and this Samuel being grabbed by TSM, again, leaves open that potential idea for moving Moline around, because we've seen Samuel in mid lane a lot, but we've also seen the Samuel get flexed into different positions. So I think the rest of the draft will definitely be telling for TSM to see where they decide to go with this composition. But right now they have a lot of crystal power AoE damage.
Yeah, they do. TSM still needing to find a strong captain. Churnwalker, Tony, Lyra, all taken off the board in one fashion or another. I definitely expect them to go for something like an Arden. Yeah, there's going to be the Arden pickup right there. I like that a lot. Slimy Salamanders definitely playing the range game with the Scarf. Daniel, once again, getting his hands on the Rona.
And I mean, there was a targeted ban for Slimy Salamanders on that Kestrel, taking that out of Kaz's hands. But again, I'm still just continue to be surprised that no one is trying to target out Daniel's hero pool, because he has only ever played 2 heroes from community tournaments before the preseason all the way through the preseason thus far. He has only played Rona and Blackfeather. Someone needs to challenge this hero pool at some point. Again, even if he has a deeper hero pool than he's shown, make him show it. Make him get off of these comfort picks.
Yeah, absolutely. When you spend this much time playing 2 heroes, even if you're capable of playing other heroes, you just don't have the same level of experience that you might. And especially when you're sitting on a stage that's competitive like this, you need to make sure that you're just as comfortable, and you can't get banned out that easily, especially with how popular Rona is in the meta right now. In both NA and EU, we've seen her banned and picked quite a bit. I'm very surprised to see them, Slimy Salamanders, just completely ignore that and give that over to TSM for free.
And again, it's not a knock against Daniel at all, the fact that he's only played these 2. Like, if teams are going to let you play them, go ahead and play them. But I'm saying, like, other teams need to try and take that away. There is the glaive coming through, that North American specialty here for Slimy Salamanders. We've seen some very strong glaive play coming out of other players, like Louis Vuitton Don especially comes to mind. Lorelei going to be the final pick for TSM. Now, is it a carry Lorelei or a carry Arden is what we'll have to wait and see.
I think I know
get some insight from someone who might have some knowledge on that.
I'm going to go ahead and say Hammy right now loves himself some Lorelei up in the top lane. He played it yesterday. It was super, super effective. I definitely expect to see that here again today. The question now is, though, where is the Moline and the Samuel going to end up? It's going to be Daniel in the bot lane on the Rona, but are they going to be in the mid lane, or is it going to be in the jungle?
That's what we'll have to wait and find out once we get on into the game. We saw the Adagio as the final pick, almost certainly going to be the captain Adagio coming out for Slimy Salamanders. But again, I'm just so excited to see if Slimy Salamanders will be able to force this into a longer game where they have excelled, or if TSM is going to be able to close this one out very early. And one of the key factors for TSM closing out these games early is Kaz. He's going to be my player to watch for this game. Mentioned Slimy Salamanders with the targeted ban. Very smart. They obviously did their homework, the same homework I did, to see that Kaz has been killing it with Kestrel. He played Taka in the very first game for TSM and has played crystal-powered Kestrel out of the jungle in every single game since then. So obviously Slimy Salamanders, knowing that that was going to, something that he's been running, banned it away from him. Now he's going to be playing potentially either the Samuel or the Maline. We'll have to wait and see.
Kaz, only 13 years old, definitely a child prodigy. On the other side of things, Iraqi Zoro for Slimy Salamanders, their shot caller, their leader, Commandant, has looked very good at making sure his decision-making is decisive in their wins. They did falter a little bit against Tribe. They look to be a little bit shaky in terms of figuring things out, but when he is on his game, when he knows exactly what he wants to do, he has made sure that his team is operating on all cylinders, all on the same page, and has looked absolutely beautiful.
And we'll see if they can continue that trend. Again, something's got to give. One of these two teams is going to drop this game. Will it be a long, drawn-out matchup, or will it be another very quick victory for TSM? And again, obviously, it could also be a very quick victory for Slimy Salamanders if they pull something out that we haven't seen before. We'll get to find out with Humanist and Denominate right now.
Oh my goodness, what an exciting matchup we have on our hands here. TSM up against the Slimy Salamanders. Denominate a couple strong drafts, and the players are out onto the rise. How's this one gonna play out? You know what I'm saying? It's alright, I'm sure the Noms is just taking care of emergency business, but I'm sure he would say something like, well, Human Dad, I'm feeling pretty good to be here with you today. Couple of fine teams. We'll see some early rotations here.
Yeah, Chuck gonna be on the Maline, and I'm just excited to see another Maline make it through. She's been pretty much constantly banned here in the VPL. It looks like Salamander's trying to get this Treant over here, and it looks like they'll be able to, but TSM, they were able to get the rotation. They were able to trade back that Treant, and are gonna clean out the rest of the Salamander's jungle as well. So pretty even as far as the jungle camps go, but it is TSM with a slight gold lead right now. Nothing substantial, but it is a start. Rekt is going to be playing that Tony in the captain position, which we were talking a little bit earlier with Tribe, and just how tanky he can be and how annoying and disruptive he can be to the enemy team.
I mean, one of the biggest things for me looking at this map out here is I just don't see status. And we got Tinker in the game. How does this switch things up for the Salamanders?
Well, unfortunately, it hurts the Salamanders quite a bit. In the games that we've seen, Status has typically been very ahead in the jungle, specifically on the Idris pick. We have seen him go absolutely crazy on the Idris. And then, it feels like it's going to hurt their synergy quite a bit. Status has always been really good with the team, making those rotations up, making the ganks happen when possible. And, I have to feel like Tinker is going to be filling in the bottom lane, it looks like, so it's putting someone else out of position, and that's pretty impactful to me. I think TSM have a pretty substantial upper hand right now.
Whew, man, well, let's see if it's going to play out the way. I mean, I've got to agree with you. Status has been playing pretty phenomenally, but I think it's a weird thing because, he was always one of the best, right? If not just considered the best at what he does. And then kind of falling out of the limelight a little bit, but he just steps right back into that role so incredibly easily.
Yeah, he definitely does, and it's going to be Xenotech picking up the glaive. We'll have to see what he's able to accomplish on that hero. Obviously,
trash talk into an afterburn. Cause he's in the drifting dark. Malice Verdict splashing onto Xenotech and Rekt. They're gonna have to tuck tail and run here. Rekt actually dropping incredibly low shaded talent. Vanguard's Hammy trying to slingshot him in. Chuck, he'll find the root. Chuck with the rotation. Maline with the first blood. What a hero.
Yeah, brilliant rotation from Chuck there, landing the light ribbon, securing that root onto Mixi, puts one on the board for Team Solo mid. Mixi, however, he was able to rotate back off of his death, obviously, and get his 5 crystal bits, so he now has his ranged attacks, and he has picked himself up a pair of boots, so maybe able to get out of that situation next time. But, again, that's one on the board for TSM, and it's about 1,000 gold lead already developed in their hands.
That's awesome. Looking good for Chuck. Looks like Chuck's going into that aftershock to start things off here. It's pretty awesome. I was trying that build out. I think it's really cool because you're just always using his abilities, switching between forms, using multiple abilities. You're always proccing that aftershock off constantly. Chuck will damage over the wall. We'll find the root as well. Let's see if they can catch some damage on over Wreck, but he's just out of range. Cause really almost just kind of forcing the situation in there with that drifting dart.
Yeah, absolutely. Mixi able to be a little bit more aggressive here in the top lane. Hammy is going to be picking up that Lorelei, so we'll have a little bit of damage on the crystal attacks as well. And you know, Mixi's really got to watch out for the fish food. That stun is so devastating to a mobile hero like Idris, where if he gets locked up, and then you know you could possibly have Chuck follow up with the root all the time. Kaz able to just rein in the Malice and Verdicts with the empowerment of the Drifting Dark can definitely spell disaster for this Idris, who's again filling a mage style role, going to be going a very, very offensive and not a lot of defense.
It's actually like mildly godly amounts of lockdown for TSM if they're able to couple up what they have between the fish food, the gauntlets, just the Xenotech's gonna jump in up top. Xenotech taking some turret damage, dropping pretty low here. Wow, 3v1. Hammy almost finding himself a kill there.
Yeah, beautiful block there by Hammy as the afterburn from Glaive came in. He was able to safely block out that reposition, which may have been the leading cause in him surviving that engagement. Send a Xenotech running a little bit, obviously taking a couple turret shots. Xeno almost dropped himself, so definitely got to be a little bit careful on these engagements.
Mixi put to sleep with the Oblivion. Cause trying to connect on the Mouse and Verdict. Xenotech will get the knock back there, but now he's in a vulnerable position himself. Wrecked. A little trash talk. Come on, Wreck, show some respect for your opponents up here. TSM starting to descend upon the T1 turret up in the top lane here. All just kind of hammering, trying to apply the damage on the turret and not draw aggro. And I think it's going to be drawn just a little bit, but not before some damage connects on to Mixi. They've taken that turret down below 50% health and doing a great job up in this top lane because there's really nothing else they have to do on the map. Actually, looks like Daniel and Tinker in a battle for the Each down bottom. Tinker, show your worth. Chuck snipes him out. Chuck, bad manners, one-shotting Tinker. Welcome to the VPL preseason, bud. Now Iraqi Zoro, does he have boots? He's got no boots. You're rooted up. You're chopped down. Maleen just terrorizing the bottom half of this map.
Yeah, Maleen does a substantial amount of burst damage going with the Aftershock first. Switching between your light and dark forms is an ability, so it does proc that Aftershock proc, as well as switching into the dark form empowers your next basic attack quite a substantial amount. You do get the slow on the light base, but when switching into dark, that's going to be where Chuck has the most spike damage potential.
It's really good. I mean, he can just walk in, just throw the attack. They're in range to get hit with light ribbons, the shadow tendrils. Very easy to follow up for him. And this looks like a great hero just in general for Chuck to be playing. And it's great to see him kind of excelling on this hero here early on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested to see what item he goes into second. Obviously, the Aftershock, a lot of proc potential on the Maleen, a lot of low cooldowns that can let him spam that out. Likely going to go for raw damage after that, like a Shatterglass or going into maybe even a Dragon's Eye. But now we have a rotation of Salamanders.
Yeah, the Salamanders, the North American Salamanders have collapsed upon Daniel. They'll fight Daniel deep in the jungle. No, they're not in the jungle, right in the lane. They'll be able to get that kill. Look at Tinker doing work there. All right, 4v1, but Tinker was there.
I was about to say, I was like, I don't know if that was all Tinker.
Credit's due, Noms. Don't be holding back on your credit.
The team of the Salamanders as a whole.
Xenotech, the knockback into destruction. He'll even take a nap after because he's that badass. Oh, Xenotech, what a monster.
Yeah, great plays by Xeno there, and this might actually give the Salamanders a chance to capture this Goldwing. TSM know what's going on, though.
Did you say Goldwing? I like it.
I thought I said Ghostwing. Maybe I alliterated it for a second there. But they now have that buff. They now have that 25% damage boost to structures. So this is an opportunity now for the side of the Salamanders to start pushing a little bit back, maybe pick up an objective of their own.
I like to pretend that casters also get 25% boosted every time a Ghostwing is taken. In fact, Xenotech, another knockback. Daniel, out of position, but he's into the fray over the wall. He's just going to stand his ground here. Healing Flask is going to just wait to spend. His team has made the rotations. TSM with the intelligent plays. Oh my goodness, who could have seen that one coming?
Yeah, Hammy finishes it up with a fish food, stunning up Tinker. They pick up the kill there, and while we were just talking about the Salamanders maybe being able to make a push of their own, TSM answer right back. They don't care about that Ghost Wing buff, and they're going to take an objective, maybe 2, off the back of Salamanders picking up that dragon.
Wrecked makes his move on down, got his bada boom ready to go. He'll be holding that one. What's going to be the movement out of TSM is they wanted to make the pressure happen down in bottom. They make the rotation back towards mid, but what's the objective for TSM here in the next few minutes?
The objective for TSM is just to get picks wherever they can. Salamanders, they've been a little bit on the sloppy side with their position. They've pushed a little bit too far, especially when the whole team's not there. And the rotations and collapses from TSM have just been absolutely perfect. And they've maintained themselves an objective advantage. They're now extending their gold lead. It was 1,000 for quite a while. Now they're getting closer to 2 and 3. So we'll have to see if they can keep that up. Meanwhile, they sit 3 objectives down on the side of Salamanders, 1 down on the side of Team Solo Mid. So definitely see that the rotations and just the control of the map coming out of Team Solo Mid has kept them in the driver's seat.
I just want to point out that I really like Shaded Talent picking up the War Treads here. It really is so good with what his team's trying to accomplish and what the Vanguard brings to the table with just protecting, slingshotting his team forward. But it's just this extra pair of boots for his team. It's so helpful, not to mention the fact that Hammy can just throw a splash down at any point. Like, honestly, TSM, if they find themselves out of position, should be able to just retreat and jump back in very easily.
Yeah, definitely would be looking to be the case. Kaz does have to be a little bit careful. He took quite a lot of damage there.
Dude.
Here comes Mixi too.
One Corrupted Genius proc and it'll be at 100% health. Just watch.
I don't know if it's going to be quite that much.
Look at Kaz just single-handedly chunking the team down. That's going to be the root coming on through. And Mixi put into the dirt. Rex going to jump in. Bada woof. Well, I don't know. See, he just didn't hit anything. Bada whiff. More like Rex. It's okay. Just kind of trying to disperse TSM as they're piling up right here in mid, getting a lot of work done. Daniel's still in the jungle, Hammy up in top, and the Salamanders really just feeling that they can't do anything right now. Xenotech, in fact, really, he might go on down to Hammy here, forcing out the fountain out of Rex. Rex not happy to be burning a fountain like that.
No, absolutely not. And TSM they have a lot of crowd control, as we were mentioning earlier, that the side of the Salamanders have to worry about. Mixi showed his face for a split second, and it was a root, a stun, and then just a barrage coming in from Kaz that just absolutely ripped him to pieces. It was a pick for TSM. They were able to get a turret, or almost a turret there. Now they've got themselves a Ghost Wing, and this is where they're going to start to push objectives. They're getting substantially far ahead. We were just talking about them hitting the 2,000 lead mark. They're now almost 5,000 golden ahead just a minute later.
My goodness, really piling up for TSM. They're buffed up, they're ahead, really feeling themselves at this point right here, right now, and they just kind of rounding the Salamanders up here. You can see just kind of like sheepdogs herding the Salamanders into their base, choking them out of their jungle. They'll take any jungle that's available, they'll shove the waves forward. I guess the only benefit of this is that you can make sure that you're getting at least the majority of the gold onto your laners here, because it's always shoved in, easy to farm now. A little bada boom disrupting what TSM are trying to do, but Rex, he overstepped himself, and Rex is probably going to go down. Rex getting taken out before the fight even really begins. Now Tinker tries to heal, winds up for the first in judgment, can't connect, he goes down. The Xenotech can't peel for his ally. He did everything he could, not like it was his fault. Now Mixi wrecked and just slapped down like a little mosquito. As Araki Zoro waiting to become a strong dragon, waiting to become an adult dragon, but I don't think it's going to happen in the next few minutes as TSM take down the first base turret here. They'll go back, maybe take down a Blacklaw, whatever they want.
Yeah, fortunately for Mixi, he was able to pick up the kill onto Daniel, maybe getting a little bit of additional gold in his pocket, which we know the Idris needs. But just as we mentioned earlier, Idris, mobile hero, when you take that mobility away from him, you're basically taking away his defense. He gets rooted up again by Chuck, the light ribbons connecting, getting that solid root. The team collapsed on him, and with no defense, this Idris just gets torn apart in a second.
How does he correct that?
He's got to play a little bit more behind you. Ideally, in their situation, want either Rect or Xenotech to eat that light ribbons. If you commit yourself too far into the fight, trying to get the a couple more hits, then you're going to be very susceptible to Chuck switching over to light form, rooting you up, and then you're just going to get annihilated by Samuel at that point.
Daniel into the fray, onto the wreath, starts to spin. The gauntlet's going to connect. Tinker, he's going to get caught. That's 2 immediate kills for TSM. Wrecked with a bada boom, knocking him back as he falls down to his knees, dead upon arrival here. TSM now looking to apply a little bit more damage down in this bot lane, potentially still have the Black Claw if they want to get out on the map and take that down. Looks like they'll play the patient game here, go ahead and retreat back. We're 14 minutes in, it's 11-3 in favor of TSM, as they just have a dominant performance so far.
Yeah, and while TSM, they did face tank that turret and were able to bring it down, nobody cleared out the wave, so the captain wave down there was able to push into Team Solo Mid's turret, got a little bit gold back into the favor of the Salamanders, and it looks like it has helped a couple items get completed. Iraqi Zoro now sitting with his Spellfire, with his Clockwork, and with his Shatterglass. He's at a huge damage potential, and anybody on the front line for Team Solo Mid have to watch out for those Spitfires, because that damage will add up very, very quickly.
You know what I'd like to see? I'd love to see a throwback the other way. I'd love to see the Salamanders pull themselves back to the game. It doesn't feel like that's going to happen based just off of the momentum of the game and how everything's been playing out. One thing I do want to say is, like, you talked about maybe having Rekt absorb some of the light ribbons to start the fight off for his team, so make sure he's not getting caught out, so make sure you can have a little bit of an impact in these fights. But going back to like the last base fight, Rekt was out. He did disrupt the fight, started with the bada boom, but nobody was there with him.
Yeah, and that's all about team positioning and making an execution when your team is ready for that execution. We don't have any war treads on the side of the Salamanders yet, which makes it difficult for Rekt to help his team follow up on an engagement like that. Meanwhile, Black Claw was picked up by the side of Team Solo Mid. They've already got that top base turret destroyed. Armory is open. So what we may see is Team Solo Mid crack open this central base turret, push that armory, and if things are looking hairy, they might rotate up, take that top armory, and get out. And we've seen last game what that double buffed wave can do into a base. And, especially if we see teleport boots come out eventually.
Oh, look at Daniel with a no fear at all. Mixie, hello, goodbye. It's like they have an instant kill button. Mixie just getting erased. He has some damage output potential. We haven't seen it thus far. Rekt taken down. He'll throw that fountain out as his team just gets demolished inside their own base. Have mercy, please, cause he'll take 2 at the end, padding his stats. As TSM go up 16-3, 16 minutes, kill a minute for this squad right here. They'll take down the Vein Crystal and take this best one. That was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, absolutely. Salamanders, they let the Maline through. Chuck, big scoreline, 7-0-6. I'm going to have to say that might be the best Maline we've seen so far. So we'll have some competition in North America between